In today's episode, we are looking at a trio of movies, with the emphasis on the first two, since I just recently revisited them. Both are based on Richard Matheson's iconic novel, I Am Legend. The first movie I looked at was Omega Man. This one stars Charlton Heston, and its rating is likely PG, but I'm leaning towards more like a PG-13 for violence and, some missing clothes. Maybe kind of missed the wardrobe department on one of the scenes or two. Well, this is classified as a sci-fi action, but it feels more like a sci-fi horror. The film opens with a desolate post-apocalyptic Los Angeles. We see Robert Neville, this is Heston's playing, driving recklessly through an empty street until he wrecks his car and immediately establishes a sense of total isolation. By day, Neville roams the city, hunting the family, mutants transformed by a global plague. By night, he retreats into a fortified house, while the mutants, who are sensitive to light, hunt him, kinda in return. We learn through flashbacks that the virus was a byproduct of a biological warfare during a conflict between the Soviet Union and China. Neville, a scientist, develops a cure, but is forced to use the last of it, on himself. After the helicopter crash leaves him as a sole survivor. Neville eventually discovers a group of unaffected youths led by a woman named Lisa. This gives him renewed hope, and he begins working on a cure for Lisa's brother, Richie. While the cure works, Richie believes that Neville should use it to save the mutants rather than fight them. But ultimately, Neville's plan is to evacuate the city, but that falls apart. Richie's killed by the mutants, and Lisa's captured and transformed. The mutants kind of breach Neville's fortress during the struggle, and Neville's kind of mortally wounded by some gunshots and then a sphere. As the sun rises, the mutants retreat. Neville hands his life-saving serum to the remaining survivors. He dies as they lead the now mutated Lisa away. I rate this one 2 out of 4. I've always loved the concept of the solitude and survival. The atmosphere of this film kind of resonates with me. But for a long time, I was trying to figure out if the Will Smith one was the same show or not. But because there are quite a few differences, but they do share the same basic story plots. Second movie, I realized that there's another movie here. This goes back, and this one's called The Last Man on Earth. In 1964, it was released. It stars Vincent Price. It's more of a horror drama, and I kind of recently discovered this adaptation, and it's a lot more psychological, and it's more dark and haunting. In this version, Dr. Morgan, it's played by Price, watches a virus kind of spread, and it originated from bats, but then kind of spread across the globe. But then the world falls apart. His co-workers speak of people turning into vampires, but Morgan's like, I don't believe it. He's kind of skeptical. But the military starts burning people into these mass pits. The tragedy here is deeply personal, because Morgan's daughter dies when he's away from the work at the lab. He arrives at the pits too late to stop the military from cremating her body, but then his life later succumbs to the plague. He can't take her he doesn't want her to go to the pits, so he kind of secretly takes her away and then buries her. Then she shows up a few days later as an undead creature. We then kind of go back to the present, where Morgan's life is just miserable. He's got this routine where during the day he gathers wooden stakes and hunts vampires while they sleep, and then tosses their bodies in the pit. At nighttime, he just huddles back in his house, and the creatures, the vampires, just kind of all surround his house and say, Morgan, Morgan, and they're always haunting him. His isolation is briefly broken when he finds a dog. Unfortunately, he has to kill it once it becomes affected. He then meets Ruth, who discovers that she's kind of part of a new society of people that are using a special medicine to keep the virus at bay. To them, Morgan's a monster, a legend, who murders people in their sleep. Morgan manages, though, to cure Ruth with his blood, But before he could save anybody else, her people arrive, and they chase him to a church, and eventually impale him with a spear. As he dies, Ruth declares him the last true man on Earth. Well, my rating on this is 3 out of 4. This version's far more potent because of the emotional weight that Vincent Price kind of adds to the role and the storyline. Regardless of the version you watch, though, the ending's the same. The main character is a relic of a dead world, a future where humanity remains an unsettled mystery. Each version has its own tone, monsters to face, and somewhat its own take on who the main character is. And I find them all kind of interesting. I recommend checking them out, again, if you haven't seen them in a while, or haven't seen one of the versions. Well, see you next time on Show and Tell.